Well, you are joining us for the next instalment of Landlord 2020 Vision, running throughout January here on propertytribes.com, powered by Less Tax for Landlords. And joining me now is Richard Bush, who is the founder and CEO of CrowdLords. And Richard, I'm interested to hear what you think of the idea of our campaign, really getting landlords to focus on, the important issues and things they need to do in 2020. Do you think it's important that they do that?
I think it's a great idea. I mean, 2020 is an interesting year, but if you look back at the years we've had recently, the changes in Brexit, the election, changes in regulation for landlords, 2020 is a new era. So I think it's great what you're doing. It will really help people get themselves ready for a new challenge.
Yeah, and it's a new decade as well, isn't it?
Decade,
so
yeah.
It's even more important. And crowdfunding and peer-to-peer lending, it's really grown dramatically over the last, I would say, 3 or 4 years.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about your proposition and where you sit in the space.
Interestingly, we started in 2014.
Okay.
And our original proposition was aimed at enabling everyone to become a landlord, either passively or more actively. So we were putting people who wanted to be landlords alongside people who were landlords to enable them to invest in each other. We changed that when the government changed the regulations, and it made it harder for that to be profitable, and we now do other funding elements. So we're very much behind landlords, and we understand the challenges they face, and that was our original purpose, was to help more people be landlords.
So what sort of projects do you sort of fund on CrowdLords?
We have 2 main types of projects. The biggest and most frequent are developments. So we enable people to invest in developments from first charge lending up to equity positions, a whole range of risk and reward. We also enable people to invest in portfolios of buy-to-let, so either a collection of houses or more typically a block of flats where the freehold is owned by the landlord. You can invest in that either as equity or as debt.
So it could be that there are some landlords that may be thinking of exiting in 2020, because obviously we've got the final kind of rollout of the staged implementation of Section 24. They may be thinking, I've had enough, or maybe they're, we're 5 years away from retirement and just thought, I'm going to bring that forward, I'm going to exit now. So it sounds to me as if your proposition could be of interest to them if they want to stay in the sector but not, be hands-on with tenants.
Yeah, interestingly, we've got a number of investors who were buy-to-let landlords. We've also got some who are pausing, so they've moved out of what they have, they've sold their properties, they've got the cash that they want to invest in property whilst they decide what their new strategy is. So it can be that they're pausing or that they're moving out of being a landlord. Either way, it seems to be an attractive proposition for them.
Now, we may have, almost certainly have people watching this that are interested in getting funding for their development. Yes. How does the process work when they come to you, and what sort of loan to values do you offer?
Well, because we can do everything from senior lending, so the sort of lowest cost main part of the debt, up to equity. The cost varies from 5-6% up to multiples of that. Essentially, we exist to enable developers to get the funding they need to secure funding elsewhere. So a lot of developers find that they can now get 65% of the funding from senior, whereas they were getting 75% before. That leaves a 10% that they can't get from anywhere, so we can raise that from the crowd. It enables the project to continue, and it gives the investors a good return at the same time.
That's very interesting. Now, you've actually got a connection to Less Tax for Landlords, because you are working with Less Tax for Landlords and some other very high-profile property commentators to put on an event, and it's called the Property Summit. Could you tell us a little bit about that?
So Property Summit is it's a training day, essentially, but it's a training day that's slightly different to other training days. It's 5 of us coming together, various we have different areas of expertise, from developing, from finance, from tax, from sourcing property, and so on. And we're there really for the whole day to help individuals decide how do they start their strategy for 2020. So it will be a combination of panel discussions, seminars, networking, and personal workbook type activity to help them leave the event knowing how they're going to start the year and the decade going forwards.
It's fantastic because it's got a really strong connection to this whole kind of 2020 theme that we're running on Property Tribes. Obviously, the information that we're disseminating is free, but your event, to me, it's like everything that we're doing this month in one day in a really strong format. And yes, there's a cost associated with it, but I always think that if you pay for education, you're actually investing in yourself and your future. So I think it's a really nice synergy between the 2020 Vision campaign and the Property Summit. Yeah. It's really one's kind of feeding into the other, isn't it?
It is, and actually one of the things that we decided when we positioned the day is that we wanted people to know that they were coming for a full hard day's work. Mm-hmm. So it's not going to be easy, but it is going to be rewarding, and so we're looking to attract people that realise that property investing is not easy, and this day is a good way for them to get as much as they can out of the people there, so colleagues as well as people presenting.
Indeed, and it's hosted by the lovely Kate Faulkner. Yep. It's yourself, it's Nicholas Walwark, who's a well-known developer, John Howard, who's another developer with over 4 decades of experience. He knows, he doesn't like me telling people that, I always say it. Of course, Tony Gimple on the tax side of things, and who is the fifth one? Paul Mahoney, also PT sponsor, Nova Financial. So I think that's going to be a really great way to set people up for the kind of property year ahead. It's almost like a kind of kickstart to the new decade, isn't it? It
is, and it should be that whatever aspect of property investing that people are unsure about, whether it's the financing, whether it's choosing a property, whether it's marketing, that there'll be somebody there who knows what they're doing in that particular area. So it should be a great day. We're really looking forward to it.
Fantastic. Well, we will put the details of the Property Summit event underneath this video. If you are watching on YouTube, we invite you to smash the notifications bell and also subscribe. And of course, please do come across to propertytribes.com. That is where our discussions are hosted. And we'll be continuing with the Landlord 2020 Vision campaign throughout January. So please tune in daily because more content to come.